Hey folks, I'm Christopher David, founder and CEO of Arcade City. Wanted to give you a little update on what Arcade City is if you're new here, and also just kind of what's been going on over the last couple of hours, couple of days, couple of weeks. By way of introduction, and just so we're all on the same page, we'll want to keep things really simple here. I made a little whiteboard here. Okay. Can you see that? Arcade City equals decentralized Uber. We have broad ambitions to disintermediate the entire gig economy. Let's keep things simple for now. Arcade City is decentralized Uber. There have been 20 plus sort of blockchain rideshare projects that have popped up over the last few years. Most of them. Don't you love that Telegram sound? I've been hearing it all night. There have been a bunch of these blockchain rideshare. We've lost track counting at 20 of these. Most of them just glorified white paper and a website, stick their hands out for money during the whole 2017 ICO boom, and disappeared. So if you total up all of those projects, Arcade City has more users, media coverage, maybe money raised. Do we have a lot of metrics that are just more than all of the rest of them combined? So if you're talking about decentralized Uber, Arcade City is leading that clearly. I could do a whole video on why that is. Let's just accept as a given that Arcade City is the number one decentralized Uber project, and we are best positioned to really go head to head against Uber and bring the heat to them. Let's say that that's the case. Uber, you can Google Uber's market cap. They're a public company now, so you can kind of see it fluctuate. Last I checked, it was at about $63 billion. And last I checked the Arcade City website to see what the token is valued at. It's under $1 million. Okay. And then just so you know, I don't know the exact number, but we know Lyft's CEO said recently that California accounts for 16% of their revenue. Lyft's 2019 revenue was $3.5 billion. 16% of that is about 560-ish million. Lyft pretty much shares the market 50-50 with Uber, more or less. So you call it about $1 billion per year, rideshare alone, not even adding deliveries to that. And that's California alone. So this is the home state of these two companies. And if you haven't watched the other video, the 2-minute intro about what we're about to launch into California, and how it's looking like there's about to be a repeat of the Austin situation that kind of had Arcade City be so prominent in Austin and have the success that we've had. It's looking like it's about to repeat statewide all across California. So we want to be ready. The point here is that we are poised to take a very real slice of the California rideshare market. It might just be a couple of percent to start. In Austin, we've got 1% of the market, and that's on a budget of nothing. We're about to monetize the app, get some momentum around the token, be able to bulk up more of a team, more of a regulatory apparatus. Exact strategy to be determined, but you take a 10% bite, even a 5% bite of California's rideshare market, and you're talking about some real revenue. One point on how we're monetizing, we've got a credit card payment integration with Circle, which is a blockchain company. So that allows us to take payments from credit cards all over the world and give drivers the option of whether they want to be paid out via a bank wire, which is going to have steep fees, or to be paid out via USDC, which is the Ethereum stablecoin backed by Circle and Coinbase, number 2 in the world by volume. So as part of the next app update coming out in about a week and a half, it's going to have a built-in Ethereum wallet so that you can hold, drivers can hold, riders can hold both Ethereum and Arcade tokens, as well as USDC. We're looking at other of the chains that Circle has launched USDC on, Algorand for one, because that's going to help us get around the Ethereum fees, which are going to be probably the main limiting factor to what we do in-app on Ethereum. But we are not attached to Ethereum, but we do have our token is an ERC20 token and will be that for the foreseeable future. We're envisioning always keeping ARCD as an ERC20 so that in part we have full access to the amazing DeFi landscape, which Ethereum will probably continue to lead on for the foreseeable future, while also bridging that token, that environment to some blockchain-ish architecture that can actually scale in terms of throughput and kind of in-app functionality. A lot of that is still just in the design and research phase because we're just, 10 years into Bitcoin and blockchain and 5 years into Ethereum, it's still super early in terms of what's actually production ready. So even though Arcade City, we've been saying since 2016, like we're building decentralized rideshare on Ethereum, in the words of Vitalik Buterin, end of 2018, he said, quote, "If you're trying to build a decentralized Uber and Lyft on top of an unscalable Ethereum, you are screwed, full stop," end quote. And so that reality has been what has killed a lot of the other blockchain rideshare projects. But we've found like other ways to be productive in pioneering this cooperative ride-sharing model in Austin that has these just amazing unit economics, vastly superior to Uber. More on that in another video, another time. So what do we have? What we have had sort of before this week is a beautiful mobile app, not quite on par, definitely not on par with the sort of like quality and smoothness you would expect from Uber. We're not yet a multi-billion-dollar corporation, yet. So we have a beautiful mobile app with like a good start that allows people to connect peer-to-peer for rides anywhere in the world. That's about to be monetized. We're about to start generating revenue, as well as having the token connection into that. In addition to that, we've gotten a slew of mainstream media coverage, Wired, CNBC, San Francisco Chronicle, a bunch of blogs, and that's just within the last couple of months. People know who we are, and they know that we're coming to California. And so as it comes to like a blockchain or blockchain-ish decentralized rideshare startup, tokenized, positioned to capture real attention while delivering value to users, to people who really, really need it, the drivers of California who are looking for a company that's not going to exploit the hell out of them, or just be there if Uber and Lyft do follow through on their threats to pull out if they lose this election on November 3rd. So it's going to be an exciting next couple of weeks. Planning to have the in-app Uniswap integration, which we've built and tested, and it works awesome. We'll do a beta of that sometime next week for some users to kind of play around with that. Not yet sure if that's going to make it through the Apple iOS approval process, but at least the in-app wallet will, or should. So this gives us the ability now to pay out drivers. So in addition to just the financial, how lucrative it is for them to build their own recurring customer base that no one can take away from them, where they set their own rates, they set their own schedule. We have a multi-year long track record of having our Austin drivers make more money over time, not less, like Uber and Lyft drivers make less money over time. We have this amazing model, and then to be able to like sort of supercharge the growth of that model into new areas by paying drivers and riders for actions that grow the network. So to have a built-in custodial ETH wallet where any non-technical user can log on and have access to a small amount of tokens and Ether there that they're just sort of like given as an on-ramp that can bring the next wave of people into crypto and seeing how this can actually provide real value to them. That's going to be really powerful to introduce alongside the Arcade token. We will have increasing amounts of features that tie into the token. One that we have envisioned for version 4.3 that'll come out later this year is some form of staking, kind of like our version sort of like a Uniswap liquidity provider, in which someone with resources is able to kind of sort of stake them or like put them into a pool that can facilitate new types of commerce. Some version of that where like people with tokens, let's say, can stake them behind a guild that they like the best in their area, and that can unlock certain bonus features for the guild. There's all sorts of possibilities there. First, kind of making sure the wallet piece is smooth is going to be important. So another thing that we have as a result of the app is the ability to integrate time locks. So let's say we want to disperse tokens to drivers or riders. We can time lock it for days, weeks, months. We want to start to be smart about the token economics broadly of the Arcade ecosystem. Note that we issued Arcade token, ARCD, at the end of 2017 with a very small private sale and have done essentially nothing with the token until now. And so that's why we're kind of playing catch up on Telegram and kind of getting things going. We kind of intentionally wanted to wait until there was actual utility in the mobile app with the token before we really put it out there. So in terms of like what has happened recently, you're talking with some crypto promoter, smart marketing folks who've been kind of getting me up to speed on best practices around getting the word out about the token, which is important. Hey, we got to make a Telegram group. Okay, make a Telegram group. Okay, now we got to get some actual members there. Like, let's give people a couple of tokens if they share it. So let's just say that like the reason I didn't sleep last night is because I was having simultaneous conversations with 750 of you wonderful people on Telegram. My inbox is a train wreck. If I didn't get back to you, I'm sorry. So we've gotten tokens out. In fact, let me see if this script is still running. Oh, it is. Let me just check on this. So we've got about, I think we've sent out tokens to about 600 of you and like another 200 queued up. And so this is just this like, it's just metamorphosed into kind of this insane airdrop, which, you can debate if we planned ahead on this, if we would have done it the same way, maybe not. However, we did spend, let me erase this so that amazing board is page one. Someone crunch some early numbers, and we'll do maybe like a more specific report on this. But what I know is that we spent under 10 million ARCD, so under a 0.1% of the total Arcade ecosystem, and that got us our Telegram membership from 40 to over 1,000 overnight, and got us in communication with, let's call it 750 crypto promoter, marketer, shills. I say that lovingly. From all over the world in various languages. Okay. The company, Arcade City Inc., owned by me, is going to be, to some extent, laser focused on California, and having California be the sort of arena where we go directly at Uber and engage them in single combat. And if they leave, then we're going to scoop up as much of their market share as possible. For us to challenge Uber meaningfully on their home turf, it's huge. We've had some practice doing this. I just absolutely love the local media anchor when we first started entering cities that they left. In Texas, goodbye Uber, hello Arcade City. And then they said the same thing when they left the Philippines and we swooped in. But California, this is going to be a whole new ball game. there will be certain things that our wonderful expanded Arcadian community can help with by way of getting the word out in California and elsewhere, although we generally want people focused on building their own local networks because Arcade City does have global ambitions. It can and should be a global enterprise. But because we have this, in part because we have this token economy, where we have a lot of flexibility around what we set in terms of our disbursement schedule, and we'll be smart about our calculations on what we think we should do, and people have kind of some people have freaked out, why do you have 95% of the tokens in a dev wallet that's controlled by me, by the way? Well, it's because, as you can read in that token thread, it's been too early for us to commit to what the plan is going to be. 3 years ago when we issued the token, we're going to start locking up large chunks of that 95% in smart contract time locks. We will kind of finalize some of those distribution schedules, at least sort of the initial, how it's going to be initially. Once we are certain of what the feature set is of 4.2, and namely, can we get what we're thinking about in terms of the in-app Uniswap integration into an approved mobile app. If not, we got to kind of retool some things, and that'll affect the distribution schedule. But we want this version 4.2 to begin the distribution of our token to our users, specifically for actions that grow the ecosystem. What we did last night, that is the last sort of mostly indiscriminate airdrop we'll ever do. It wasn't totally indiscriminate. People, had to send in screenshots of them promoting. And I didn't get the sense that anyone was really trying to game the process until this morning, when there was some people sending stuff at 7 a.m. Why didn't I get my tokens? Well, you submitted your stuff 7 hours after the cutoff. What did you So, there's probably a little bit of it was a sloppy process. But it got us out there in a massive way, and a much larger initial audience. And I want to impress upon everyone, particularly the potential token speculator type folks. I don't care about short-term price fluctuations. I don't care. Price goes down, so what? Price crashed. Why does that matter? The market has not stabilized yet. There's no liquidity. There are early holders that might dump. Maybe 2% of the economy that we did the early pre-sale to. X percentage of the people that we distributed tokens to in this airdrop dumped. Fine. Okay. You could argue that people are going to kind of really kick themselves down the road when they, sold at $1 million when we're at whatever billion. But that's okay. Some people just need that quick money, and I'm glad we could help you. Going forward, we're going to kind of pull our liquidity providers and larger holders into a private group or something, and just kind of do a better job of kind of planning ahead for these kinds of things and communicating that. So if certain things need to be moved, you can move them. For now, if anyone felt they got something liquidity screwed up or something like that, and you can prove that you were a liquidity provider before this, we'll just send you a chunk of bonus ARCD just as a thank you, and stick with us because it's about to get really exciting. So here's what we need from you guys. We need help turning this into a global phenomenon. And I don't have exact answers on how to do this, but I can give you an idea of how we approach this type of organizing. And part of why Arcade City has been so successful in kind of getting our name out there and having this grassroots energy around it has been our embrace of this one book that outlines this organizing philosophy called Swarmwise. It was written by Rick Falkvinge, the founder of the Swedish pirate party that then kind of got a bunch of attention and went global a number of years back. And there's a book that's online, free PDF. You can download it if you Google Swarmwise PDF. It's basically about how to create a movement and how you relinquish control of the brand. And that's some of those principles have been built in deeply to Arcade City's business model. We want to empower local guilds. There's our logo and stuff is available on our GitHub. You can like print up your own business cards and do whatever you want with it, really, within reason. Saw some photo when we made a push into the Philippines, like some driver printed out this like graphic he made that says like Arcade City Philippines and just holding it up with like two riders in the car smiling and got a selfie. I was like, that's amazing. Like we want that times 10,000. Like that level of like you taking ownership of the brand, you taking ownership of your local business, both for your own personal financial needs, like you having your own clientele that's allows you to be independent, and also to have potentially, if you're willing to, have some leadership role or some participation role in your local guild, which is our name for the local cooperatives that are like the teams of drivers that are providing some measure of quality control over local drivers and kind of working as a team to handle requests. We've got that's worthy of a whole nother video of how our Austin network evolved into this what we now call a guild. Okay, so in terms of like things that would help sort of move the needle next, we're going to need beta testers for the next version of our mobile app. I mean, we want testers now. Like you can go download the live app and any kind of bugs you identify, that's all going to be helpful. We're going to be increasingly sort of sophisticating our processes around communication, like soliciting feedback and bug reports from you and improving on those. I've been doing a lot of this myself in terms of the development, even though we've had like 15 to 20 developers work on the app over the years. Lately, I've been the sole developer on it, and that needs to change immediately. So both around the like product development as well as sort of the user feedback, community management, like it's time now to kind of unfold this beautiful idea of Arcade City that's kind of germinated here in Austin and like get it out to the world. We're going to need a heck of a lot of help for that. We're not in a position to be hiring people, nor do we really want to be. Like, you're now an employee of Arcade City Inc. That's not really what we're doing here. We want to increasingly be sort of a crypto native project. Do things in tokens, have people transacting in tokens, have developers paid in tokens. Like, if you need to cash some out to pay rent, do it. If you can HODL, HODLing is good, and we might want to give you some bonus tokens for HODLing. The rise of Arcade City should make many millionaires and a whole slew of multi-thousandaires. There's a lot more to say, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of where our head is at, what's coming next. We are going to be just kind of spinning up processes for engaging you better. If there are things that you can kind of envision that are helpful in terms of, I don't know, outreach on Telegram or coming up with documents or whatever, I mean, please use the group. And if you want to make a spin-off group, like a private channel or whatever, like what's one thing we got to do is kind of get the group under control right now. There's just, I mean, it's sort of like airdrop fever. And if we need to like boot people out, we'll do what's necessary. But that group, among others, and increasingly the app, I mean, there's guild chat and city chat already in the app. We'll add group chat at some point when that's sort of a desired feature. But one point I want to make about the app, it's not a rideshare app solely. It's a combination of like a rideshare and deliveries, like any kind of gig services app for you to connect peer-to-peer. It's kind of a basic social network in which you have a profile with a bio that you fill out. You can be seen by your local, who's around you locally, and we want to add increasing amount of like filter options about who can see you under what circumstances and things like that. And this sort of cooperative formation engine where we want to help you. That's the other thing that's coming out in 4.2 is guilds, like having you be able to create a guild, add members to your guild, figure out how to smartly integrate that in with the revenue sharing and the token payments and such. There's a lot. I don't want to like overload you in this one video, but I hope you can see that a lot of thought has gone into Arcade City. We've been at this for a long time, kind of experimenting somewhat quietly here in Austin, having some successes, and preparing a product that we think is going to be ready to help export this to the world. The token is a powerful tool in that. Telegram is a powerful tool in that. 750-ish crypto promoters, not all of whom will want to go the distance with Arcade City, but can we get 100 of them as happy HODLers and coming up with kind of a strategy to get this really ramped up? Yeah. I'm not going to be the dude in charge of all that. I can't be. I'm going to be focusing on California and recruiting and doing kind of high-level training of people that are going to help me in the stuff that I'm trying to get going in California, and kind of scaling some of that out into other geographies. But we need other leaders to step up, and that means you, if you're willing to. You have the Telegram group as one mechanism, one channel to get organized. We have a Facebook group, been kind of trying to get us off of Facebook, but that's where a lot of riders and drivers are, so it's helpful for some amount of recruiting. Let's just call this to be continued, and we'll talk to you soon.